Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
You'll meet some talented seed stock producers who are working hard to supply their customers with genetics that improve their productivity and profitability. Plus, we'll get insights on the value of crossbreeding for your herd.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Hi everybody and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Russell Nemitz. Well, in just a bit, we'll turn things over to Kevin Ochsner for a look at the value of crossbreeding and ways to improve the genetics of your cow herd. But first, we begin with some very important news about the upcoming meeting schedule for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. As you may already know, the next cattle industry convention in person is set for August 10th through the 12th in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. And without question, that'll be a great reunion and a full trade show and a whole lot more. In the meantime, though, there's another valuable opportunity on the calendar coming up next month. And joining us now to talk more about this is Kristen Torres, the Executive Director of Meetings and Events for the NCBA. And Kristen, first of all, tell us about the Cattle Industry Convention Winter Reboot Meeting.
Yes, Russell, thanks so much for having me here today. I wanted to let everybody know about a fun new event that we have coming up. As everyone is aware, we have moved the annual convention to the summertime. And in order to take the opportunity to have something in that first quarter of the year for folks, we're launching a meeting that we're calling the Cattle Industry Convention Winter Reboot. And it's going to be a 2-day event that's going to be filled with education sessions. We're going to have an update from our team in Washington, D.C., and they're going to let us know what we can expect from this new administration. We're also going to have a preview of the convention, and then we're going to be hearing from a lot of our corporate partners and a lot of their experts from their staff and several different education programs as well.
Well, no doubt, some very important connections to be made at this virtual meeting coming up in February. Why should people in the cattle business plan to take part? And tell us about the value that you see for those participating.
Yes, so as I mentioned, we will have a full lineup of education programs, and it's really going to be some information that's timely for folks in that first quarter, things that they're going to be dealing with coming up this spring. Additionally, we're going to have a virtual marketplace. So as you know, the work never stops on the ranch. So we're getting some of the top companies together so they can showcase the products and services that they offer for folks in the cattle business. And they have a chance to learn what's happening out there and what's new for this year. And as I mentioned, there's going to be a preview for the convention next year as well. So folks will be able to get a sneak peek of what they can expect in August.
That's what I was just going to throw in. Let us be perfectly clear. This upcoming online event in February isn't going to replace that in-person cattle industry convention and NCBA trade show in Nashville, Tennessee. But we also want to talk about the unique opportunities with this upcoming virtual reboot meeting, Kristen, in February, including those popular producer education sessions.
Yeah, so we're going to have about 10 different education programs throughout the 2 days that people will be able to log on. They're going to be able to get a market outlook from CattleFacts. So that's the session that they typically do at the convention during the winter meeting. They'll be presenting that virtually. As I said, an issues update from our DC staff. There's going to be a sustainability session. Jason Lusk is going to be our keynote speaker in person in August. He's also going to be featured at this event. And I highly recommend that everybody kind of tune in February and take a look at all the education we have going on.
So is this upcoming event open to anyone, or do you have to be an NCBA member to attend?
No, you do not have to be a member to attend. We would love it if everybody wanted to join as being a part of this event, but you do not have to be a member.
That sounds fantastic, and certainly we're all looking forward to being in person in Nashville for sure. In the meantime, though, if folks want more information on both of these very important cattle industry meetings on the calendar, where should they go?
If they want to follow us on social media, they can find us on Facebook at Beef USA, and we're very active there. And then the website is where all of the information is going to be housed, and that website is convention.ncba.org.
All right. As always, thank you so much, Kristen. We always appreciate your time here on Cattlemen to Cattlemen. And again, just a friendly reminder, this next event is online wherever you are. It's the Cattle Industry Convention Reboot Meeting taking place February 23rd and 24th of 2021. So be sure to visit the website convention.ncba.org for all that great information and those important updates. And with that, Kevin, we'll turn it over to you.
Cattle producers are always looking for ways to increase their profit potential. One way is to improve the genetics in your herd. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has a look at how crossbreeding can improve an operation's productivity and profitability.
If you're a cow-calf producer, there are two primary ways to improve your profitability: either cut costs or increase production. Dr. Bob Weber of Kansas State University says one of the low or even no-cost strategies for cattle producers to improve their profits is by implementing a program of crossbreeding.
I think one of the real challenges we face is, in the last few years, we're kind of back into the cost price squeeze, right? We had $3 calves for a while, which everybody thought was great, that is, but we're back to sort of realistic levels now. And, most of the university estimates say annual cow costs over $800 a cow. So everybody now is going back and thinking about how do I become more efficient? And I think against the backdrop of sustainability. So thinking through, how do I integrate my decision making to increase profitability, but also meet lots of objectives in terms of replacement rates, calf product, and those sort of things. So crossbreeding is one that's come back to the discussion because we know of that substantial increase in weaning weight per cow exposed that various crossbreeding systems offer.
As part of NCBA's producer education program, Dr. Weber spoke to a crowded room at the 2019 Cattlemen's College. He told the group that decades of research and experience clearly show that a well-thought-out cross-breeding program gives producers stronger cattle performance.
We understand a lot of the opportunities and benefits that crossbreeding presents to us in terms of really two key areas. One of those is heterosis or hybrid vigor, that extra boost in performance we get. And the other piece is breed complementarity. So how do we put breed components together that make sense in terms of really kind of optimizing our cows for our production environment, so controlling cow size and lactation and capitalizing on the increased longevity and reproductive performance of crossbred cows, and then mate those to complementary sires that produce calves that are market targeted.
More pounds per calf is one direct benefit of crossbreeding. And Dr. Weber used several examples to show that the bottom line impact on a commercial cow-calf operation can be significant.
I used literature estimates for improvement in weaning weight per cow exposed, and I used an F1, so say black baldy cow mated to a terminal bull as an example. So I've got all the cow heterosis I can get and individual heterosis. And my estimate's that right now that's worth about $150 per cow per year in terms of additional revenue. And the beauty of that is we get to capture that $150 without really changing resource base or cost inputs. In many cases, costs in our system go down because of decreased replacement rate as one of the primary areas. And so I think producers, we get really focused on how much calves weigh when we sell them and how much they bring. That's the premium that we talk about in the marketplace. But we need to take a step back and look at how did we actually produce those calves and how much did it cost to get them there, and figure out ways to do both pieces, right? Build premium value calves in the marketplace, but do as much on the backside to control costs and inputs as we can, and heterosis plays a big role.
As with any production change, Dr. Weber says each producer must evaluate for themselves how crossbreeding might work best for their operation.
One of the first and most important steps, I think, for producers is to do some reading and some education. Make sure you're kind of up to speed on the various crossbreeding systems to do the planning work. Then go run it past some people. okay? People you trust. That might be your seed stock vendor, your veterinarian, extension professional, any of those guys, because they're going to have a different view of your operation than you do and can really provide some of that sounding board and feedback. And the other thing that does is build some accountability, right? So making sure we put a plan in place and we continue that plan over years is really important.
With the right plan and clear goals, Dr. Weber says a cross-breeding program doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, he says it will be more valuable if a producer keeps it simple and sustainable for the long term. I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
We're not done talking about the topic of crossbreeding. When we return, we'll talk about the value of adding Hereford genetics to your herd. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
That certain time in the day when you can take a deep breath, knowing your work is done. That's the feeling Aspen products can create. Cost-effective alternatives to name brands that deliver the same results. Qualaxin is one of them. Use it to prevent and treat respiratory disease in your herd. Then breathe easy. Find them at Animal Health International.
It's time to tune in to Tennessee. That's where the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show will be in 2021. It's the biggest convention just for cattle producers. In Nashville, a city with amazing southern hospitality that's packed with the best food and great music. You can't miss it. So make plans now for CattleCon 2021 at the Gaylord Opryland Resort in Nashville, Tennessee, February 3rd through the 5th. Tune in to convention.ncba.org for more information.
Producers are always looking for genetics that will allow them to get the most out of their calf crop. Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Brad Bulla explains why producers may want to consider the Hereford breed if they want to improve their bottom line.
For more than 100 years, the Hereford breed has been a part of the U.S. beef industry. With cattle producers facing more challenges than ever, using Hereford genetics in a crossbreeding program can help.
We're very proud at the American Hereford Association to endorse the commercial female and the commercial F1 Baldy female. She's been the queen of the cow herd for a long time. Crossbreeding and hybrid vigor has definitely worked and been well documented over the last 75 to 100 years, time in and time out. And you couple that with the fertility that you gain with Hereford genetics going on what is today primarily an Angus-driven or a black commercial cow herd, and you're going to get instant rewards because of those advantages in fertility, heterosis, what you're picking up in that cross. When you think about complementary breeding and heterosis, taking two breeds that are more unrelated than another, Hereford really has a big impact over other breeds when it comes to that heterosis and hybrid vigor.
With the Hereford bulls, we've seen a lot of hybrid vigor in the extra weight that we're getting in the calves. Last year we were really strong Hereford sired, and that was the heaviest set of steer calves we've ever weaned, and it was 23 pounds heavier.
Since we started using Hereford bulls 6-7 years ago, I can sure tell a difference in our weaning weights. Even on our baldy cows, we stick a black bull on. We'll either get a black calf or a black baldy calf out of those baldy cows. Those calves hang right in there with our F1 crosses too, you know. Just really high on the baldy cows.
The hybrid vigor is working good for both Angus and Hereford programs. These baldy calves out of these Angus cows, I mean, they'll hit the ground in 30 below weather and they'll jump right up and they don't have any problems. I think that hybrid vigor, you get a little black Angus in with a Hereford, and I think it's really working well both ways.
Hereford has been around since 1881, and there's a good reason for that. You think about the different climates in the U.S., the Gulf Coast region to the upper Northwest to southern Florida. Hereford can thrive in all those regions very well. The adaptability, the hardiness of that Hereford female, the bull, or a crossbred female, a tiger stripe, a baldy, a red baldy, they all work.
The American Hereford Association is committed to working with commercial cattle producers to help them find the best marketing option for their Hereford cross calves.
We're very dedicated to the cow-calf commercial producer, and we believe there's a big ceiling left for Hereford genetics to make a big impact in this commercial industry. Our staff is very dedicated at the American Hereford Association to make sure these guys and you are profitable. And so we set up the Hereford Advantage program. It's been around for about 3 years now, and that's an opportunity that commercial producers, it's a free program that they have. We turn that information into a very progressive list of buyers and feeders that we have. We get on the phones, we send emails out, texts out to this group of feedlot buyers that we have so they can know about your calves, and we help you market them.
The Hereford Association has been real good to work with on the marketing end. We sell privately and have for years, and when we switched over to F1, our buyer was not really excited about that. And the Hereford Association, finding a premium for those calves, there's no hang-ups when we're trying to deal on them and stuff after he found out there is a premium and a place to go with them.
The markets are volatile, they're tough, and I think we're in a position and a day and time where it's about reputation. It's about developing that reputation for that next buyer or 2 buyers from now at the packer level. What we really want to strive for at the American Hereford Association is create a legacy for your ranch, create that reputable market for your cattle through Hereford genetics, and we firmly believe that you can, and we're just wanting to help you out.
From the Sandhills of Nebraska, I'm Brad Bullitt for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
To learn about the value of hybrid vigor and the Hereford Advantage program, visit hereford.org or call 816-842-3757. If you'd like to know more about what's happening with NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, you can find us on Facebook. Be sure to like our page, and we'll keep you updated with photos, details on upcoming shows, and much more. And it's a great way to connect with other cattlemen and women all across the country. So check us out on Facebook. Still ahead, we'll take a closer look at Gelbvieh cattle and meet some ranchers who are raising Gelbviehs in their operation. Don't go away. We'll have more right after this.
No matter what you're hauling, if you're looking for a trailer that will stand up to anything you or your animals can throw at it, you should be looking at a Calico trailer. Family owned and operated for more than 3 decades, the team at Calico has proven experience building the best possible trailer for your dollar. And they'll give you exactly the features you want.
One thing that sets Calico trailers apart from other manufacturers is every trailer we build is custom built. We really focus on what each person wants to use their trailer for.
Calico builds more than 2,000 trailers each year, and their dealer network is more than 100 strong, meaning you'll find Calico sales and support offered nationwide.
If you want to know more, just go to our website at calicotrailers.com or give us a call. We love to talk and answer all your questions.
Friendly people, tough trailers. That's Calico.
Gelbvieh cattle are popular in several countries around the world, including here in the U.S. Reporter Brian Baxter introduces us to producers who believe Gelbvieh genetics help improve the performance and profitability of their herds.
One of the strengths of America's cattle industry is the men and women who, working together, have built family businesses that are sustained across multiple generations.
Well, the ranch was started by my great-grandfather about 140 years ago. Donald MacDonald came from Scotland, and he immigrated to Canada, and this was in the late 1860s, and then he came down through Canada and worked, and then finally came down to this location on Chugwater Creek and decided this is where he wanted to set up his ranch.
So the Paulus Ranch was homesteaded in 1905 by my great-grandfather, Ernest Paulus. He proved up on a Kincaid Act, And so in 1910, he actually got ownership of one section of ground, and we've built from there. So I'm 4th generation. My 2 children would be 5th generation. And we are a commercial Gelbvieh Angus cattle ranch.
While proud of their long history, each of these family ranches, one in Nebraska and one in Wyoming, have also been willing to make big changes and to adapt their cattle herds by taking advantage of Gelbvieh genetics shortly after the breed was first introduced in the U.S.
Gelbvieh cattle originally came over from Germany in the 1970s, and that was about the same time that the American Gelbvieh Association was started. Throughout the years, the Gelbvieh breed has been very progressive, and in the early 2000s, the American Gelbvieh Association started registering the hybrid cattle of Gelbvieh and Angus, and we call those a balancer.
My grandpa started out with horn Herefords, and we introduced Gelbvieh into our operation mainly just because we wanted to try a change, and we felt that the Gelbvieh genetics, once we got them, changed everything for us, and we saw improvement in our herd, saw an improvement in the maternal side especially. We were able to keep our own replacements that way, and from there it's just snowballed into a black-hided animal that works great in the sandhills.
What works for us on this, using the Gelbvieh in our herd versus some other breeds, is their docility, the milking ability. They have good bone, good muscle. They convert well. They utilize the feed well, what we feed them. Just good productive cattle.
With rough country and often severe winters, this part of the world calls for a hardy cow, and the Gelbvieh breed stands up to the challenge.
The Gelbvieh cows milk well. They're just big old stout cows. They can handle this environment. They can handle the rocks. They can get around. Our pastures are very large, and they can earn their own living pretty well. They breed back well.
Cattle here need to be able to kind of take care of themselves pretty much on range, and then during the winter they're supplemented with cake and hay. But what we look for in a cow and in an animal that's going to do well for us is something that we can keep replacements out of, as well as produce a nice steer in the fall.
I think that the maternal strengths, the maternal superiority of Gelbvieh and balancer females can provide many benefits to commercial cow-calf operations. Gelbvieh and balancer influenced females just make tremendous mother cows. They reach maturity early, they have high fertility, they can provide increased productivity, and those cows stay in the herd a long time with longevity and stability, and ultimately contributing more potential profit to a ranching operation.
These ranching families were quick to see the benefits of adding Gelbvieh and balancer genetics to their herds, which gives them the added performance that comes with crossbreeding.
Well, we're running the Gelbvieh balancer bulls that the hybrid vigor that you get through the crossbreeding really helps, and the balancer bulls seem to do that real well for us.
Once you introduce Gelbvieh, you're going to get that hybrid vigor, that growth that is going to push those cattle to the most extent that they can become. And we've tried straight red Angus before, and the Gelbvieh side is just going to give you that much more growth. The maternal side, not only on the cows, you're going to get the maternal side, but you're going to get extra milk that you're going to get from that you wouldn't see in some of the other breeds.
I think there's a renewed interest in crossbreeding with many producers, and Gelbvieh has a lot to offer in that regard as far as hybrid vigor and also breed complementarity. They cross very well with the British breeds, so you get the best of both worlds. You get the strength of Gelbvieh, strength of whatever breed you're crossbreeding them with. People who run Gelbvieh and balancer influenced females love those cows. And then on the feed yard side of it, these balancer cattle are great feeder cattle.
And as with other breeds, a strong association stands behind these families, serving them with a variety of programs that can help improve their herd performance and their marketing options.
The American Gelbvieh Association has always been very commercially focused, so not only do Gelbvieh and balancer cattle offer the traits that work for commercial cattle producers, but the American Gelbvieh Association also has tools and services to help those commercial cattle producers meet today's modern industry demands. Those tools and services include our Balancer Edge and our Feeder Finder program, which help commercial producers to market their feeder calves. And then we also have our Smart Select service, which is a commercial database that folks can use to help track the performance of their commercial cows and in the end help them make selection decisions.
With those tools and more, these family ranchers are set to continue raising Gelbvieh cattle for yet another generation.
I started my cow herd when I was 8 or 9. My grandparents gave me my first Gelbvieh Angus heifer that I showed in 4-H. And then since then I've gotten more heifers throughout the years and been able to show them in both 4-H and FFA. I really like the Gelbvieh Balancer genetics. I love their temperament and they're so pleasant to work with. We care about what we do and it's family centered. So the fact that we get to have our family and do what we love, I think that's a really beautiful thing.
A beautiful thing for sure. In Wyoming and Nebraska ranch country, I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
To learn more about the Gelbvieh breed, visit the American Gelbvieh Association website at gelbvieh.org. Still ahead on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we visit a multi-generational South Dakota operation that is a leader in offering limousine genetics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. NCBA is the oldest cattle industry organization, working every day to defend your interests in Washington, D.C. And there are big benefits to being a member. You'll get news you can use in the National Cattlemen and policy updates from Beltway Beef, plus big discounts from John Deere, Cabela's, and more great partners. Join now. Call 866-233-3872 or sign up online at ncba.org.
Now a BQA tip from the Beef Quality Assurance Program.
It's really important for cattle producers to assess their cattle handling, and National BQA has a tool to do that. No matter if you're a feedlot or a cow-calf producer, they have a National BQA assessment manual that helps you identify some handling issues that you may have when processing cattle through a chute. So if you can process at least 100 head and mark every time an animal slips when they come out of the chute, if they vocalize in the chute before a procedure, if they run when they exit the chute, use an electric prod on cattle, all of those situations indicate that we have some area and room for improvement when we're handling cattle during processing. So BQA's assessment guide helps you go through and look for those components that you would like to mark down when you're processing cattle to make sure that you can make improvements where necessary or continue doing good work where you see that things are going extremely well.
Find out more about beef quality assurance at bqa.org.
Adding muscle to your calves without sacrificing quality can be a challenge. Reporter Matt Fleck visits a multi-generational South Dakota family operation that believes limousine cattle do just that.
It's a rainy day in South Dakota, but the weather does nothing to dampen the enthusiasm of the Simmons family in caring for their limousine cattle.
We started breeding limousine cattle in 1970. We picked the limousine breed because they were advertised as a carcass breed, and the reason the carcass breed interested us is because we always fed out all of our own cattle. So we thought we'd try them, and we were impressed with the cutability and the muscling and how they yielded.
I think the limousine crossbred calf is a really good feeder calf. Really does well at the bunk, really does well in the yard. You get the best of both worlds when you combine English cattle with limousine. You can market the marbling and the quality grade calves.
I'd say limousine have proven to be some of the easiest calving cattle, and yet again they still have above average growth. The feed efficiency of the cattle and the carcass quality that the cattle bring to the table are second to none.
Seeing for themselves the value of limousine genetics, the Simmons brothers took the next step and began to register their cattle, which led to their first production sale back in 1981.
We normally sell around 100 bulls and about 30 females, and our sale last Thursday of February, which is quite early because we calve most of our bulls in April, so they're not a year until April. But then we keep them and feed them, test them, semen test them and everything, and deliver them in end of April, 1st of May.
Breed improvement is important to the team at Simmons Brothers, and they work hard to breed bulls that will deliver bottom-line value for their customers.
Simmons Brothers Limousine Genetics, I think, can bring to any commercial cattleman a very well-balanced genetic package. They've raised the cattle for predictable calving ease, and I think, they've selected to breed for optimums instead of maximums, but the cattle are very balanced. They're going to have above average growth, maternal ability, carcass ability.
We're trying to bring a bull that our customer would be able to put on any set of cows, and those calves could earn a premium when he brings them to the sale barn. We want calves that when they come in, they're sound, they're ready to eat, they're ready to go, they're growthy, they're a complete calf that is in demand.
Because the Simmons family wants their customers to be satisfied with the animals and the genetics they sell, they offer an unconditional guarantee on their bulls.
As much as I like the cattle, I'd say one of the reasons people keep coming back here year after year after year is that the cattle do what they say that they're going to do, but that the Simmons guarantee is iron proof. The Simmons brothers stand behind their cattle 100%.
Well, a guarantee is a guarantee for one breeding season. We want your experience to be good. We want you to not have any troubles. If you have a problem, we replace the bull or we give sale credit back.
We've always prided ourselves in personal customer service with honesty and integrity. Our word is our bond, and that's what we are as a family.
From Simmons Brothers Limousine in South Dakota, I'm Matt Fleck for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
If you want to rewatch this or any other Cattlemen to Cattlemen story, then visit our YouTube page. You'll find a full archive of all of our shows packed with educational segments, information, and producer profiles from all across the country. So go to youtube.com/Cattlemen to Cattlemen and check it out. When we return, we'll have a closer look at a South Carolina Angus seed stock farm that won an award for its conservation efforts. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We didn't just design the 6M tractors with you in mind. We designed them with you by our side. The new 6M tractors from John Deere, reimagined by you, for you. With improved visibility, better maneuverability, and more ways to customize, so you get everything you need and nothing you don't. Experience the new 6M at your local John Deere dealer.
It's time to tune in to Tennessee for CattleCon 2021. CattleCon is the oldest and largest event in the beef cattle industry, and we're headed to the Music City, a city filled with the best music, great food, and some down-home southern hospitality. And you can't afford to miss the huge NCBA trade show.
It's our Super Bowl event. It's where all the producers come. We gain a lot of knowledge from producers who we've come to know over the years.
There's no better place for cattlemen and women to learn, have fun, and connect with fellow producers from across the country.
The value of it is I get to connect with tons of different producers around the United States and be able to learn from different people as well as meet and network with tons of different companies.
Dynamic speakers, unbeatable education, all for cattle producers. So plan to tune in to Tennessee for CattleCon 2021. Visit convention.ncba.org for more.
For years, America's beef producers have been leaders in the area of sustainability. Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Kate Maher joins us with more on Yon Family Farms, a great Angus operation that has won multiple awards for their stewardship efforts.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm talking now with Lydia Yon, one of the owners of the Yon Family Farms. Lydia, thanks for your time today.
Glad to be here.
Now, in 2008, Yon Family Farms was the National Environmental Stewardship Award winner. What has that meant to your family since?
You know, it's been kind of an ongoing process, I guess. We never did anything that we did environmentally to win an award, obviously, but It was really cool that we were recognized for what we had done, and we've been big proponents of the program ever since and try to always go and see what the other operations are doing that are up for the award. But it's just been a building process. So ever since 2008, nothing's really changed as far as our mindset of whether we should continue to try to do the right thing environmentally or not. It's just something that's kind of bred into us to do that. So we're continuously putting in heavy use areas and doing things for erosion control and watering areas and feed roads, just, you know, a lot of things that have made not only the farm more environmentally sound, but have been smart for us from an economic standpoint too, from a labor standpoint. It's just been a win-win situation to do the right thing as far as taking care of the land.
Yeah, and sustainability and stewardship sort of go hand in hand, and of course sustainability is a big topic pretty much in all industries, but especially the beef industry now. How do you find that some of your stewardship efforts might help you be more sustainable, or what does sustainability mean to you here on the farm?
You know, it's interesting. Sustainability wasn't even a word that we thought about a whole lot until it became such a big topic in the beef industry and the food industry as a whole a few years ago. Sustainability to us is not doing anything that we weren't already doing. It was just that the general public maybe didn't realize that we were doing things that were sustainable. I mean, so much of farming and agriculture are multi-generational operations, and so a lot of times I think the components of sustainability that we talk about are the environment and taking care of your community and your land and your animals. But another big part of it is also taking care of your business from a financial standpoint, because, you know, for us to pass this farm on to our kids, we have to be in business to earn a living. And not only are we doing it for the dollar, but we're doing it because it's the right thing to do, and we want to pass it down to our kids and leave everything in better shape than it was, you know, when we got it. That's just the right thing to do, and it's almost like second nature, it seems like to us, because I saw my parents do it and other cattlemen all have that mindset, but folks just don't know until you tell them.
And you bring up a good point about sort of the general public and the consumers maybe not knowing and are driving a lot of this conversation and talk about sustainability and our farmers and ranchers sustainable. What would your message to other producers be as far as telling your story and letting people know that we're sustainable? How important is that, knowing that a lot of our consumers don't understand what we do?
You know, I think that once again, that's the thing that we have to realize is also part of our job. First of all, if the general consumer doesn't want to eat beef, who are you going to sell your product to? So that's the no-brainer. But the other part of it that's really hit home with me as my kids have gotten older, gone to college, and become young adults, is that so many of the folks that are purchasing our product, it's not that they want to make us out to be bad guys at all. It's just they don't know what we do. So I think the fact that we not necessarily accept their ideas as being right, but as being valid. And, you know, that doesn't mean we're always going to agree with their perceptions or their thoughts about our industry, but that's where it's important that we're willing to explain our situation and why we do the things that we do and why they are sustainable and environmentally sound. And I think that we all should be willing to do that. And sure, it's time consuming and not always the funnest thing we're going to do on the farm that day, but it's something that we all should take responsibility to do.
Yeah, and make us all sustainable for the long run.
Exactly.
So it's been a true honor and privilege to see your operation. Thank you for allowing us to be here.
Thank you.
Kevin, we'll send it back to you now.
To find out more about the Yon family and their high-quality Angus cattle, just visit the website yonfamilyfarms.com. When we return, it's time for a visit with our good friend Baxter Black. Stay with us.
CattleCon 2021 is back in the Music City. Tune in to Tennessee for the cattle industry's biggest convention, with education, networking, and fun, not to mention some great tunes. Plus, you can check out the huge NCBA trade show, outstanding entertainment, and much, much more. So make your plans and be there for CattleCon 2021, February 3rd through the 5th. Stay tuned to convention.ncba.org for all the details.
We know you're up before the dawn because the cattle rise before the sun. And you spend long hours in the saddle because the herd isn't always over the next rise. And you care for the land because you know it takes care of your family. And we know you do great work. And it's time to tell that story to the marketplace. IMI Global is here to help you do just that.
At Leachman Cattle, we're committed to building more profitable cattle. As a third-generation seed stock producer, our family has been in this business for over 80 years. Today, we have the best technology ever to build more profitable cattle. Our dollar profit index is a leader in the industry to help you balance all the traits that drive your bottom line. Give us a call or go to www.leachman to learn more.
There's an old story that claims the last two fellers left on board the Titanic when it hit that iceberg and sank were cattle feeders. As they clung to the stern, one was heard to say, "Just hang on, Tommy, it's bound to come back up." The volatility of the market in the cow business is legend. The cowman can be Dr. Jekyll one day and Hyde Tallow the next. He's kind to his wife when the market goes up. His children think that he's neat. The implement dealer sits by him in church, and his banker waves on the street. Salesmen treat him like he was the king. The hired man asks for a raise, and the press is reporting exorbitant gains, and the banker's singing his praise. A genius, he humbly admits to himself, smart as a tree full of owls. 20 foot tall with a bulletproof brain and a friend to all of his pals. But something occurs when the market goes down. His family feels it first. The mother-in-law gives him plenty of room, and the dog gets regularly cursed. He gets lots of mail from lawyers in town, and the gas man won't fill up his tank, and the feed company rep has forgotten his name, and he's a leper down at the bank. His ulcer is worse, his accountant's in jail, and they repoed the pickup he had. His jeans don't fit. They bag in the rear, they've chewed on his tail so bad. And he might get discouraged, but down at the sale, his heart will rejuvenate. A gambler in spirit whose living depends on the fickle finger of fate. So just like the story of Jekyll and Hyde, he's a wise man or a clown, a hero or a fool, depending on whether the market goes up or goes down. This is Baxter Black from out there.
Thanks, Baxter. We sure appreciate hearing your brand of cowboy humor and common sense. One reason to become an NCBA member is the chance to read the National Cattlemen. It's the official publication of NCBA and provides timely news and articles about the issues and events affecting the beef industry. A subscription is included free of charge when you become an NCBA member. Just call 866-233-3872 or visit the website ncba.org. We're back with more right after this. Stay with us.
Are you concerned about the impact government policies could have on your cattle business? One way to make your voice heard in Washington is by joining NCBA. When you join, you'll have access to key policy updates and insights from Beltway Beef. It's the best way to hear directly from NCBA's DC team. Beltway Beef provides valuable policy information, and it's free for NCBA members. Stay in touch with Beltway Beef. Join now at ncba.org.
Now a BQA tip from the Beef Quality Assurance Program.
My tip today is about biosecurity. It's about bringing cattle onto the place, just bringing in new additions to the herd. You know, if at all possible, what we want to do is we want to get a health program from those cattle. Cattle that are coming in from out of state have the benefit of having a health certificate. So we've had eyes on those cattle. They've looked at those cattle and seen that these cattle indeed are healthy, and that's why they're coming in. Even though those cattle are healthy, we do want to keep them separate from the rest of our herd. get some background information if at all possible, find out what kind of herd health program they've been on. Keep cattle separate for about 30 days, about 4 weeks to 30 days, and keep an eye on them and watch them. During that time, it's a really good time to take samples if you need to take samples to see if they could be incubating disease. Get them on your herd health program. If you need to do any procedures like vaccinations or deworming, even do some samples to see if they have parasites, that kind of thing. So that's a really good time to go ahead and get them integrated into your herd health program before you actually get contact with your herd.
Find out more about beef quality assurance at bqa.org.
Today, we've shared the story of several seed stock producers who go above and beyond caring for their animals. And one key factor in that care is improved cattle handling to help keep the animals calm and easy to work with. So let's turn things over to two of our favorite experts in this area with a taste of a training session from a recent NCBA stockmanship and stewardship event.
If I speed this side up over here, it's going to send them right out the gate. Now I got to step over here and speed this side up to send them on through the gate. And I'll just, it's like I'm driving a team. I'll keep sending sides. Because I'm at the back of the cattle and I got to send those cattle forward. Come on. I got to send them forward through, and then I got to keep coming back, send this side up. Now I'll send this side over. I'll just zigzag back. I'll send this side through. Now I'll send this side up, and I'll have to hustle up over here just a little bit. And I'll roll these guys right on around. I'll roll them around, roll them around. Now I got to come to this side, send these on up. I'm still looking out at the front. Send him through. Now I'm going to hustle over here. I'm going to draw this thing. This is the one we had in first. I'm going to draw him right around in there. And I'll switch eyes. Good.
And we'll draw them around and put them in this side?
Yeah. And it's nice to have a gate to go through so they have a little more distance to go. Then they'll start really understanding why they want to draw.
Yeah, now see, these others are not looking, but these little heifers are looking for their herd mate, so I'm going to use them as my draw. And if I can empty a pen by not having to go get them and draw these cattle out, knows I can back up and create more draw. That speed helps bring cattle to me. And I don't have to go over there and push them anyway. So we've changed the dynamic a little bit here in the corral. So all I've done is set them up for success, use the first ones to draw the rest ones in. That's going to be important as we try to create flow through this system. We got to create draw and flow. All right? So to me, that's what I want them to do. If I put pressure on them, they come to me, go through the gate. I didn't have to do anything, did I? But open the gate. Notice they are looking. So I want to get these cattle where they'll draw through here as well. So if they weren't looking and looking off the other way, I would probably go put some pressure on them to draw their attention just like Kurt did here. I want to step in here, try to draw them out of that corner. If they go back, I'm going to just keep trying to draw eyes out until I get some flow down. Now, once again, they're not going to leave until I get them all turned and go in the same direction. They know the gate's open. We're just about to get ready to go. I'm going to send old bugger in there and see if I can get them to move. Now, here I want to stay out a little bit, push on this one's eye. I'm not really worried about him going behind the gate. By not focusing on him, he figured out how to get around the gate. Now this is the same place that we talked about earlier about not keeping enough pressure on them, so I'm going to put a little more pressure on these, get my flow through there. Raise my hand is enough to put some pressure. And then I can feed these in behind. He's wanting to go away from me. I'm going to try to put pressure on him to where it's really a good idea to go that way. Once again, that draw to get them to go and then try to put that movement through there. One, if we're going to work these cattle, we've got to get them used to going through this system and across these bars. I don't know how many times I've heard how important it is to not have any obstacles in the way. There's all sorts of obstacles in here, in the ground, pipes we're crossing. It may have slowed them down a little bit, but not much.
Want to know how you can get your own cattle handling training with Kurt Pade and Ron Gill? Just visit stockmanshipandstewardship.org for details on these can't-miss educational experiences. We're wrapping up this week's show with legacy photos, some great shots from our viewers of daily life on their own farms and ranches. Let's take a look. Want to see your photo on Cattlemen and Cattlemen? You can submit your favorite shots a couple of ways. Message them to us on the Cattlemen and Cattlemen Facebook page or email them to c2c@beef.org. Send them our way and we may use them on a future episode. Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattlemen and Cattlemen. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week right here on RFD TV.